Here are the most recent deaths in the national news, as reported at Legacy.com in the second week of September 2025. Legacy.com is where you can find any obituary or publish an obituary in any local community in America and beyond. Civil rights activist Major General Joseph McNeil died September 4, 2025 at the age of 83. He was one of the Greensboro Four, college students who organized a series of sit-ins at the Woolworth's lunch counter in Greensboro, North Carolina. The protests became a landmark moment in the civil rights movement. He is being remembered as one of the pioneers of civil rights, whose early commitment to nonviolent protest helped spark profound change. McNeil was a U.S. Air Force veteran who served for more than 37 years, including in the Vietnam War. His military honors include the Air Force Distinguished Service Medal and the Legion of Merit. Katharine, Duchess of Kent, died September 4, 2025 at Kensington Palace in London at the age of 92. She was a member of the British royal family, a cousin by marriage to the late Queen Elizabeth II, and she was known for her association with Wimbledon, where she presented the ladies' singles trophy to decades of winners. Katharine is being remembered for withdrawing from royal duties in the 1990s and becoming a music teacher, as well as for founding the charity Future Talent to help low-income children study music. Reality TV and social media personality Raymond Harper, better known as Rolling Ray, died in September 2025 at the age of 28. The self-described most famous boy in a wheelchair, he became a social media star with his Instagram videos featuring funny one-liners, clapbacks, and his catchword, Purr. Harper is being remembered for his viral appearances on MTV's Catfish Trolls and Divorce Court. A note to remember, sometimes personal information, such as someone's cause of death, is not announced immediately by their family or the authorities. When a cause of death has not been officially confirmed, we do not report on rumors. Every family has a right to their privacy. Musician Mark Volman died September 5, 2025 in Nashville, Tennessee. He died after a brief illness at the age of 78. He was a co-founder of the Turtles, playing guitar and singing backing vocals on hits like Happy Together and Eleanor. Volman is being remembered for his exuberant stage presence with the Turtles and as a member of Flo and Eddie, who sang backup for such artists as Frank Zappa, T-Rex, and Bruce Springsteen. Musician Rick Davies died September 6, 2025 at his home in East Hampton, New York. He died of multiple myeloma at the age of 81. He was a co-founder of Supertramp, playing keyboards and sharing lead vocals on 1970s hits like Goodbye Stranger and Bloody Well Right. Davies is being remembered for writing and co-writing many of Supertramp's beloved songs, including Dreamer and Breakfast in America. Hockey player Ken Dryden died September 5, 2025 of cancer at the age of 78. He was a powerhouse goaltender for the Montreal Canadiens in the 1970s, winning 6 Stanley Cups and honored 5 times with the Vezina Trophy for the NHL's best goalie. Dryden is being remembered as a Hockey Hall of Famer who went on to a career as a Member of Parliament representing portions of Toronto. Social media personality Helen Van Winkle died September 4, 2025 at her home in Kentucky at the age of 97. She was better known online as Baddie Winkle. Millions of people followed her Instagram and loved her brightly colored outfits and joyful videos. Van Winkle is being remembered for showing the world that there doesn't need to be an age limit on fun, colorful fashion. Baseball player and manager Davey Johnson died September 5, 2025 at a hospital in Sarasota, Florida at the age of 82. In his playing years, he was a four-time All-Star second baseman, best known for his seasons with the Baltimore Orioles in the 1960s and 70s. He went to 4 World Series with the team and won twice. Johnson is also being remembered as a manager for the New York Mets and other teams, most notably helping elevate the Mets from a long-lasting slump to their 1986 World Series victory. Musician and songwriter Tom Shipley died August 24, 2025 at a hospital in Columbia, Missouri. He was half of the folk rock duo Brewer and Shipley, best known for their 1971 hit One Toke Over the Line. Shipley is also being remembered for singles like Tarkio Road and Shake Off the Demon, and for his later career in video production. Actress Polly Holliday died September 9, 2025 at her home in New York City at the age of 88. She had one of the most repeated catchphrases of the 70s when she starred as the sassy waitress Flo on Alice and on her own spin-off Flo, often telling people, "Kiss my grits." Holliday is also being remembered for roles in such movies as Gremlins, Mrs. Doubtfire, and All the President's Men. Political activist Charlie Kirk died September 10, 2025 at a hospital in Utah. He died after being shot while speaking to a crowd at Utah Valley University at the age of 31. He was just 18 years old when he co-founded Turning Point USA, a conservative campus activism group that grew from its grassroots beginnings into a major national organization. Kirk is being remembered as a prominent voice of young conservatives and host of the popular podcast and radio show The Charlie Kirk Show. Let me just take a moment to mention that some of the most memorable tributes we saw this week at Legacy weren't for celebrities, but for amazing people whose families wanted to honor their memories. Like this remarkable 105-year-old great-grandmother who loved learning so much that she was still taking college classes in her 90s. This U.S. Army veteran from St. Louis who went on to spend 35 years as a math teacher and athletic coach, always encouraging students to be their best. And this longtime military medic and beloved father from Kentucky and Massachusetts, whose passion for history led him to many Renaissance fairs. At Legacy.com, any family can publish an obituary in honor of a loved one's memory online and in local newspapers everywhere. Just visit Legacy.com and select your local community. In addition to featuring current deaths in the news, Legacy.com also honors the lives and legacies of notable people who died in the past. Here are some of this week's anniversaries. 1 year ago this week, actor James Earl Jones died at the age of 93. He was a giant of stage and screen who won Tony Awards for The Great White Hope and Fences, and his deep, resonant voice is unmistakable as Darth Vader in the Star Wars films and as Mufasa in The Lion King. 5 years ago this week, actress Diana Rigg died at the age of 82. She was an icon of the swinging 60s when she played Emma Peel on TV's The Avengers, and she was Emmy-nominated for her recurring role in Game of Thrones. 10 years ago this week, actor Martin Milner died at the age of 83. He was a TV star of the 1960s and 70s in Route 66 and Adam 12. 15 years ago this week, actor Glenn Shaddix died at the age of 58. He was the voice of the mayor of Halloween Town in The Nightmare Before Christmas, and he had a memorable role in Beetlejuice. Actor Peter Sellers was born 100 years ago this week. He died in July 1980 at the age of 54. He was known for his hilarious portrayal of Inspector Clouseau in the Pink Panther series, as well as for roles in Dr. Strangelove, Casino Royale, and others. Every week in the United States, flags are lowered to half-staff to honor the lives of Americans whose communities are mourning their loss. Here are the most recent half-staff memorial flag honors. Flags across the U.S. have been lowered for Patriot Day and the National Day of Service and Remembrance in memory of the lives lost in the terrorist attacks of September 11, 2001. Flags in Wyoming have been lowered to honor the memory of former State Superintendent of Public Instruction Lynn Simons. Flags in California have been lowered to honor the memory of former state and U.S. Congressman John Burton. Flags in Virginia have been lowered to honor the memory of the Honorable John Alfred Cox, former member of the Virginia House of Delegates. Flags in North Carolina have been lowered to honor the memory of civil rights activist Major General Joseph McNeil. Flags in West Virginia have been lowered to honor the memory of former State Senator and Commissioner of Agriculture Walt Helmick. Flags in Wisconsin have been lowered to honor the memory of U.S. Army Private First Class Leon R. Karwacki, who was killed in action in Germany during World War II. His remains were recently identified and returned home for burial. Flags across the United States have also been lowered to honor the memory of Charlie Kirk. You can read more about the lives of the people featured in this video on Legacy.com. Follow Legacy.com on Instagram and Facebook, and subscribe to our channel on YouTube to stay up to date on national news deaths.